My name is Teddy, and I am the owner of several sites that deal with surveillance equipment. Many customers often asked us to send them our catalog, especially a catalog of our main site, Petrutech Spy Shop. We didn't have such catalog, so I decided to search for a ready-made one. I found several templates on the web. Some of them are simple, and some are really sophisticated. Then I got an idea: why won't I produce one by myself? I am not an expert in Excel. Far from that, I almost have no experience at all. However, I tried to do my best, and I learned a lot from YouTube. This project was something that helped me to relax from a hard day at work, and in the end, I was happy with it. I wish to share it with you, step by step, and you may make any changes in this project, changes that will meet your needs. Even that I have to use an artificial voice, as my English accent sucks. I hope that you will understand it, and enjoy this project. So, let's begin. First, we will like to make a banner, and inserting our logo in it. As well, we will write the business name. Actually, we can insert in this banner any information we want, for example phone number, email and so on. Here is an example of our banner. Here is what I did. I drew a rectangle from cell A1 to T5. Now, I will fill the cells with the color that I chose, dark blue in this case. I have my logo file in a folder on the desktop. It can be in any format. Mine is a PNG file, but it can be a JPEG as well. I inserted it on the rectangle, but as you can see, its size is larger than the rectangle, so I have two options: resizing the logo, or resizing the rectangle. Of course, I will resize both of them. Meantime, I reduced just the logo's size and adjusted temporarily the logo on its place. Now we want to add the text, I mean the business name. I will use Insert, and choose the Word art fonts that I like. I think that this one will be okay. Let's do some adjustments so it will look better. I will select the text, and write my business name, replacing the text. Mine is Petrutech Technologies Spy Shop. I am selecting the text and make some small changes. On the sheet's left side, there are the properties of my selection. In Format Shape, I choose the first icon, under the buckets icon. I select the shadow, and click on the button. I want the shadow to appear under the shape, so I click on it. Going down and finding the 3D format, I click on the button, and choose the first icon. You can play with them as you wish, it's you the one who decide how it will look. So, it looks nice to me, so I will drag it above the blue banners area. It is longer than I thought, so I have to adjust it. I click and hold the left button of my mouse, between cell A3 and A4, and drag it down. I will adjust it as better than I can, so the logo's picture will be just a little bit smaller than the blue area. Then I drag the logo picture and adjust the text so it will appear in the picture's middle side. The text is still too long, so I will reduce it. This way, I will select the text, and I see that its size is 54. I'll change it to 50. Now I can adjust it much easier, right? Now, we have to protect our work, as we don't want meantime to make any more changes on this particular banner. I can unprotect it any time. Take a look. I can, meantime, make changes, and may destroy it. I go to the upper left corner, and click on it. This click will select the entire sheet. Then, I will click on my keyboard, Ctrl and 1. A new pop-up will appear. I can see that the marker is on, locked. This is the default, and I will remove the mark. I am selecting the banner area, by clicking and holding the left mouse button, from the banner's bottom right side, up to upper left side, and release the button. I will click Ctrl+1 again, and put the mark on, locked. Click on the Protect Sheet tab. A pop-up will appear, asking for a password. I won't put meantime any password. Then, click on OK. Now, try to do any change or to edit the banner. You cannot do it, right? You cannot move any element. However, only the banner is protected now. All the other parts of the sheet can be edited. I will write just a few letters in a cell to demonstrate it. The second part of the project deals with various shapes, as buttons, frames, text and others, that I've used in this project. Go to Excel's Tag, File, Options, then, Advanced. Look for Display. There you can find the rules option, in inches, centimeters and millimeters. I chose millimeters, but actually, I can measure the shapes in pixels. I am using Excel 2016, and I don't know if other releases behave the same. I am creating a new sheet, by clicking on the plus. I am selecting now a shape from Sheet 1, a button that I wish to build. I am copying it, by clicking Ctrl+C. Then, I add a new sheet in this workbook, and paste it in the new sheet by Ctrl+V. We will create now a replica of this button. Let's insert a rectangle in our second sheet. I go to Insert, choose the shape and place it on the sheet. I have two options, a rectangle with 90 degrees edges, or a rounded edges rectangle. I am choosing now the rounded edges shape, as maybe I will decide to make different buttons later. I am drawing the shape, and the size doesn't matter for now. I can make any changes, as, just for example, changing the color of this button. My buttons are rectangles. I drag the yellow dot to the upper left, so it will interlace with the white one. This way I get 90 degrees corners. I want a replica of my original button, and this rectangle shape has to be modified. You may modify it as you like, and the modifications include size, shadow, 3D look. So, for the size I'll go to the right part of the sheet, the Format Shape, and choose the third button. I will measure first the original button, the ready-made one. I am placing my cursor on the button and click. The number that is shown is on the Format Shape shows that the height is 9.8 mm, and the width is 77 mm. I click now on the new button. Then I go to the right side of the sheet, and write the sizes, the height, 9.8 mm, and the width, 77 mm. I am clicking on the 0 below, just to get rid of the bullets. Now the two buttons have the same size. We will add now, if required, some effects. First, we will add some shadow. Click on the middle button on the Format Shape. Choose the Shadow effect. From the drop-down pop-up, choose the first middle option. Then fill the table this way: transparency, 60%, size, 100%, blur, 3.5 pence, angle, 90 degrees, distance, 2.2 pence. We will select our button by double-clicking on it. Now, at the Format Shadow lower part, we'll see the 3D format. Click on the top bevel and choose the first button. Height's value is 15 pence. Width value is 3 pence. Click on Lighting and choose the second shape. Lighting angle is 145 degrees. Here we created the first button. This button is just a shape, and I mean that it is meaningless meantime. It doesn't do any action. About actions, we will talk later, but let's put some text on it. For example, our catalog categories. We can do it in several ways, and I will show you 2 ways. The first one, the simplest, is by using a normal text. Personally, I prefer to use the capital letters. So, let's begin. As far as I know, I cannot insert a text directly on the button. However, we must use another element, named text box, and this is exactly what I will do. The main plus is that using this way, I click on Insert, then Text Box. We will write the content, then I will drag the text box and place it on the button. This text doesn't look very fancy. It is black, it is not bold, and it is not, exactly, in the middle of the button. So, let's change it a little bit. I will expand the text box up to the button edges. I will select the text and click on the Home tab. Here we can do all the changes, as making the text bold, change its color, change its size, and so on. Now, I can adjust the text to the middle of the button. I prefer the white text, so I can it very easy. The second way to do it is by inserting word art text. I click on Insert, click on Word Art, and it opens a list of different fonts. I choose one that I like, for example this one. I select the text and write my text. Then, I adjust the text size to 18 pins. I drag the entire shape and place it on the button, adjusting it to the middle. As 18 pins is too small, I am choosing a 20 pin size. The last thing that I wish to do is to protect the two buttons I made, so any changes on my template will not have any influence on them. Now, I can move them, drag them, change the text, and even resize them. I wish to protect them, and only them, from any changes in the sheet. So, I select the first one. I click on the Review tab, and simply click on Protect Sheet. Now, both buttons are protected, and I cannot change anything. However, the other parts of this sheet are unprotected, and I can't do any action in this area. As you can see, I copied already two additional shapes from sheet number 1, and we will try to reproduce them. The first one will be the larger shape, the frame. I am not sure that we will use it, but it is a nice way to exercise. I will click on Insert tab and choose the shapes. I will draw now a rectangle on the sheet. I don't worry that it is not the same size, as we always can resize the shapes. We will do it in a moment. I get a blue rectangle. On the right side of the sheet, in the Format cells, we will begin with resizing the new shape. We will go first to Size tab and click on it. The size, in this case, will be height 21 mm, width 106 mm. Now, we will click on the Diamond tab. We will choose the following: Shadow, Color, Black. Transparency 40, Size 100, Blur 3.5. Angle 90, Distance 2 pence. "3D format", we will choose the first shape on top bevel. Width 15, height 3. Now, we will click on the Bucket tab. We will choose the following. We will click on No Fill. Go to Line. Line, choose Solid Line. Color, blue. Transparency, 0. Width, 3 pence. And here is the replica of our shape, the frame. We will add some nice text here. I click on Insert tab. Word Art tab. I chose the goldish yellow font. It doesn't look great. I am selecting the text. I will write my text. It looks huge. So, I will reduce the size to about 20 points. It doesn't look nice at all. I will click on the left shape and choose Center instead, Top. I am selecting the text. We will go now to the text options and look for Bevel option. I see that the height and the width are 3 points. For flattening the text, I will reduce them to 0 points. Now, it looks better, but it is a little bit anemic. Let's do some additional changes. We will click on the bucket and choose black. Transparency 60, size 100, blur 4 pence, distance 3 pence. It looks nicer, but I will choose a wider font. Arial black looks better, right? I will drag the text and place it on the frame. It looks that it is too large. I am reducing the size to 16 pixels, and drag it to the middle of the frame. Now, I can play with it a little bit, as expanding the height, or centering it. Let's do now the home page of our site. We will add a new sheet. Please remember, the shapes, text, colors, fonts, etc. can be changed anytime, adding or deleting elements. We will go to the first element, and it will be the banner we've created earlier. We will copy it. Please remember, this banner is unprotected, so after opening the new sheet, we will copy the entire banner. Go to the banners sheet and copy it this way. We will select the blue shape, select it by clicking on it. Then, we will click and hold the Control button, and you will see that all the elements are selected. Release the Control button. Click Ctrl+C. Go to the next sheet and paste it by Ctrl+V to the cell A1. If the logo and text were not copied, return to the banner sheet, select both of them, and copy-paste them again. After placing the banner, we will draw a new rectangle under the banner. I chose to draw it up to the 35th cell, but of course, you may design it longer or shorter. The horizontal size is a little bit tricky, as it must be exactly as the banner's width. We have now the homepage's background. We will draw now one more rectangle near the background. We need a different color, and this time I decided that it will be white. The shape I created is blue, and we will change it to white. We will go to Fill and choose Solid Fill. Then, we'll click on the color and choose white. Pay attention please, the small rectangle is selected. First, I go to the bucket and choose the white color. Then drag the white rectangle over the blue background. We will place and size it as we wish. There is a white shadow under the shape, so I will cancel it. I will click on the Format Shape, and this is the middle button. I will click on the Presets button and choose No Preset. Now, I can resize it as I wish, and place it anywhere on the background. However, we want to write something about ourselves, about our business. Therefore, I have to insert on the white shape a text box. I go to Insert, choose the text box, and resize it as the white rectangle. Now I can write our text, usually by describing ourselves, the business, etc. As an add-on, I can put a frame around the text box. I go to the previous tab, and choose the frame. I copy it by Ctrl+C, then return to the text box and paste it using Ctrl+V. Then I drag and accordingly resize it. Be as accurate as possible. Let's place the buttons we created earlier. First, we have to find and remember what is the size of a cell in our spreadsheet. I go to the left size, and place my cursor on the line between two cells. I click on the mouse's right button, and see that the cell's height is 20 pixels. I do the same with the upper cells, and see that the length is 64 pixels. I'll try to remember that, or write it down. If we will wish to change the button size, this information will be very useful. We shall draw now 2 alignment lines. I will go to Insert, Shapes, and choose the line shape. I draw a straight line, let's say from cell 11. This line is approximately at the same height of our text box that we created earlier. I will begin the line from the right side of the light blue shape. I hold the Shift key and draw it. Please hold the Shift key pressed, and this way, the line will be perfect aligned horizontally. We will change the line's color to another one, for example the orange color. This line will help me to align the horizontal elements. Now I shall drag a vertical line. We will use it for the vertical alignment. This line will begin a few pixels from the left column, from bottom to the upper part. Remember to hold the Shift button pressed, so the line will be exactly vertical. I'll go to Insert tab, and choose the line shape. Drag the line up. I shall copy the now first element from the previous sheet, the table of contents. I will go to the previous sheet, Sheet 3, select the Table of Contents button and copy it. I will click on the text, and I'll see a black frame around the entire shape. As this element contains both the text and the frame, I want to copy both of them together, without making any structure change. Then, I'll click and hold the Control button on my keyboard. Now, I'll click on the blue frame, and I'll get an additional black frame around the entire shape. Both elements are selected, and we can copy it to our background by using Ctrl+C. Go to the newer sheet, and paste it, by clicking on the right mouse button, and choosing the Paste option. We will adjust its place now, just aligned under the horizontal line and at the right side of the vertical line. We will drag it by placing the mouse cursor on the most external black frame, and when the cursor will change the shape to a cross, we can drag it. You can also use the arrow keys on your keyboard for more accuracy. I will drag the adjusting line between cell A15 and A16. Let's place a few buttons. Go to the button sheet and copy the button we created, in the same way we've copied the table of contents. We will paste it on the sheet as the previous button. As the button is still selected, I can drag it just below the table of contents, where the two adjusting lines met. I can fine adjust it to edges by the arrows on the keyboard. We will move down the horizontal alignment line and place it one cell below the first button. The first button height is 2 cells, so we'll copy and paste it between cells A18 and A19. First, we will select the button elements by clicking near the right edge. By using the left mouse button, the cursor shape will change to a cross. Then we will click on Ctrl+C. We will click on the right mouse button and paste it outside the shape. Then we will click several times on Ctrl+V and create several similar buttons. I will drag the text box under the frame. We shall drag the first button that we created to its place between the two adjustment lines. You may use the arrows keys for accuracy. After that, we will move the adjustment line 3 cells down and repeat the copy and paste action. Always move the alignment line 3 cells down. Actually, we've finished creating our home page. We shall edit the buttons with the real names later. We shall copy the entire homepage to the new sheet and make the required modifications to the home sheet. We will click on the home page sheet, then on Ctrl+A. This will copy everything on the home page. We will add a new sheet, and it will be the product sheet. Then, going to the new sheet, we will use Ctrl+V for pasting the content. You certainly remember that this shape actually contains 3 different elements: the frame, the text box, and the white background. So we'll choose the frame by clicking on it. We'll see the white dots around it. I will drag it to make it smaller, then I will click on it by the right mouse button. I will click on Format Shape, and the Format Shape list will appear on the right side. I'll click on the size. My size is 50 mm on 50 mm, but you may choose any other sizes. I write the dimensions, and the frame will change accordingly. I will click on the second shape, that is the text box, and change the size to 50 mm on 50 mm. I am expanding the white background up to the end of the blue background. We will change it later. We will need to create several new buttons. We will return to the buttons page, and use the shapes that we already have there. We need to modify them, so they'll meet our preferences. First, we will create the 3 buttons that are placed under the new product frame. They should have the same horizontal size as the frame, and I suggest to use the height of one cell, which is 20 pixels. Of course, you can use other preferences. So, let's go to the buttons page. We will choose the Categories button. We will copy it and paste it on the same sheet. I mean that we will duplicate it. We will select the shape including the text, and we'll click on Ctrl+C. We will go to an empty place, by clicking on the right button, and choosing the second option. First, we'll select the text, and size it to 12. After that, we will modify the button size. The height will be 5 mm, and the width, 50 mm. Please note that this button will be a little bit shorter than the frame, as the frame is larger several pixels compared to the button. We will copy the new button to our sheet. We will adjust it just under the blue frame, touching the frame. The best way to do the fine adjustments is by using the keyboard arrows. We will click now on the down key, and the button will move down. We will copy the second button, and place it right under the first one. Again, we will adjust it with the down key. Press the down key 3 times after placing the button. The third button will be placed in the same way. Now, we must think how many similar windows we want to show in our catalog. We will have to make some modifications if we wish to insert 4 columns and 2 rows of products. First, let's check that the buttons are perfectly adjusted. We will drag the vertical adjustment line, so it'll touch the upper button, and check. Yes, they are adjusted just fine. We'll use now a new action, named Group. We have to select all the elements that we placed on the white background. This way we will be able to copy and paste the entire product window, including the buttons, as a group. I am selecting the product frame, then the inner text box. I will hold the Control key and select the 3 buttons. I'll leave the Control key. I will click now on the Page Layout tab. I will click on Group. All the items I've selected are transformed now to a single object. Now I can copy them together. We will move with the mouse, the vertical adjusting line, so it will touch the outer side of our frame. This line behaves as any other object, and can be selected. I will do the same with the horizontal line. After the line fine adjustments, I'll select the vertical line again. I will click on the right arrow key 7 times. I can copy now, by using Ctrl+C, and duplicate the complex shape as many times I wish. However, please note, after selecting the shape, I must pay attention that the entire complex is selected, and, just then, I can copy the shape. I will click on the middle button, and I can see the thin line around the entire shape. I can copy this way the same shape fast and easy, using the same method. I am copying and pasting each shape, adjusting them accordingly. Of course, I can select the entire row by using the Control key and paste it below the first row, but I prefer to do it one by one. I see that 3 cells are not adjusted horizontally properly, so I'll adjust them by using the arrows keys. We'll click on the Format tab, and we'll change the size, but first, we will change the inner text to Next. In the right side of Format, we'll see the button size, 5 mm height and 50 mm length. We will change the 50 mm to 25 mm. We'll copy it by Ctrl+C. We will go to the active sheet and paste it. We will drag it to the place that we wish and release the mouse button. I'll drag this button aside and move the vertical adjusting line up to the white background edge. Now I'll drag the button to its place and adjust it with the arrows keys. I will paste the second button, drag it and adjust it so it will touch the first button. I will paste the third button, drag it and adjust it so it will touch the second button. So, I have now the three buttons. We will insert a small space between them. I am selecting the first one, and click on the right arrow 8 times. I am selecting the second one, and click on the right arrow 4 times. I will place now an additional button, paste it on the right side of the background, and adjust it to the same height as the others. We will change the text color on website button. However, the buttons under the complex shape are different. Only the third button will have the same text, so let's begin with it. We will edit one button, then we will copy and paste to the other buttons. I will select the text on the first button. I'll write, View, with capital letters. I'll choose the format text from the list. I'll begin with the shadow and choose the second option from inner shadow. I will change now the color of our text to orange. I will resize the text to 16 pixels. I'll select the text and click on Ctrl+C. I'll go to the second button, select the text, and click on the right mouse button. I'll choose the second option. Now, I'll repeat the same action with the other buttons. All the other buttons must be edited one by one. I must admit, I made a mistake. The buttons are too small. So, let's modify them a little bit. However, the white background is also too small, and there won't be enough space for the new size buttons. I'll have to fix it. I'll drag down the blue background about 6 cells. Then, I'll drag the white background too. I'll select the first shape from the second row and click on the first button. Please note, I am clicking on the button's edge, and this is a must. On the format shape, the height appears as 5 mm, and I will change it to 7. I will change in the same way the other two buttons from 5 mm to 7 mm. I'll select the bottom button and click on the down arrow key 20 times. I'll select the second button and click on the down arrow key 11 times. As you can see, the text hasn't moved with the buttons, so I'll select the first text and move it down with the arrow keys. I put it exactly in the middle. Now, moving the second one. We fixed this shape, and I'll copy the entire complex by Ctrl+C. I'll select the first shape from the first row, and click on Delete. I will paste the new shape by Ctrl+V. I'll use the vertical line for adjusting, and drag the shape above the first row. I'll use the horizontal adjustment line, and place it above the second row. I'll have to repeat the entire action for the remaining shapes. I will readjust the white background, so it'll fit the new buttons. We have now a lot of free space on the blue background, and we will use it, placing on it a new shape. I'll copy now the table of contents shape. First, we'll select the shape's frame, and then the text. I'll click and hold the Ctrl key. I'll go to Page Layout, click on the Group tab, and grouping the frame and the text. The shape is selected, so we'll click on Ctrl+C. We will paste it now, by Ctrl+V. We will drag the shape to the place we will choose. We will size the shape, expanding its width. Select the shape, and click on the Format tab. We will change the width to 100 millimeters. I think that it will be nice to realign the right buttons, as we look for some tire equality between the two parts of our sheet. I am selecting the last button by clicking on it. I see the white dots around. I click and hold the Ctrl key and select the other buttons as well. I am moving them down by using the down arrow key. I am dragging the horizontal adjusting line to the upper side of the button above the white background. I select the Table of Contents button, and using the arrow down key, I am placing it under the adjusting line. I am reselecting the blue buttons, and using the up arrow key, adjusting them to my preference. I will select the entire sheet by clicking Ctrl+A. I am copying the entire content by Ctrl+C. I am opening a new tab by clicking on the plus button. I am going to cell A1 and pasting the previous sheet's content. As you can see, the page is long, and we cannot see the entire page on our screen, and at the same time to see the logo. However, we are interested that the logo will appear always on our page, as it is a promotional object. We will use a simple way to fix that, by a function named freeze. We will go to cell A8, and select the entire row, just under our logo. We will click on row 8. We'll go to the View tab, and click on the Freeze button. From the drop-down menu, we will choose the first option, which is named Freeze Pane. Now, we can scroll up and down the catalog, and our logo will remain in the same place. We will edit now the button's text, I mean the categories. I will select the text on the first button, and replace it with Power Boxes. The second will be replaced by Boxes UHF. The third will be replaced by Transmitters UHF. The fourth will be replaced by Sets and Receivers UHF. The fifth will be replaced by Power Strip/Bug. The sixth will be replaced by Wall Adapter Bugs. We will change now the small buttons above the products, as I don't like their size. We'll change only their height. We will click on the first button, and we will see that there are two selections, I mean 8 dots. We will select by clicking the outer frame. We will click on Format, and see on the right side, the height of this shape. We'll change it to 8 mm. We will edit in the same way the other 3 buttons. This is our category's main page. From now on, we will copy and paste this page for each new category. We'll copy the entire page, and we will paste it on a new sheet. As our category is named Power Boxes, we'll rename this sheet, and we also will rename the title's shape text above the white background. We will copy this page to a new sheet. On the new sheet, we'll select all the shapes that we've inserted on the white background, and delete them one by one. We have now the empty white shape, and we'll modify its size. After sizing it arbitrarily, we will check and change the size to 110 mm height and 110 mm width, so we'll get a square. We will select the square, and we'll copy and paste it. A second square will appear above the first one. We'll drag the horizontal adjusting line and place it on the top of the first square. We will drag the second square and place it on the blue background. We will adjust it to the line. We will insert in the second square a text box. We'll go to the Insert tab, Text Box, and place it on the square. I'll insert a frame around each window. It is not a must, but I think that it will be nice. It is up to you, you can skip it if you wish. We will size the text box very near to the square's edges. This is the third template that we need. It is the detailed product template. I will also adjust the product title between the two windows. I'll do it by freehand, it is just quicker. I think that I have too much space above the windows, and the product's details and picture are too low. I will edit it now, as this page is the main template of all our products, and I wish it to show nice. I will also rename the sheet, as it is a template. We will return now to the product sheet. I can insert here up to 8 products, however, I will insert only 2 products, as this is only an example. If I'll have more than 8 products on this category, I can add a new sheet. Another option is of course to change the page's length or size the entire composition. I'll begin by inserting the 2 pictures. You must have a folder with your product's pictures. I'll click on Insert tab, and choose my first picture. My pictures are square, 600 pixels by 600 pixels. I'll paste it on the sheet. I'll drag it to the upper corner, and I'll adjust its place by using the arrows. I'll resize the picture by clicking on its right down corner, and again, I'll fine adjust it. I'll do the same to the second picture. I'll rename the 2 pictures, according to their name on my website. I am selecting the category 1 on my button, and write the new name. I am doing the same with the second name. Now, let's insert the price. I know that the first product has a discount, so we must insert 2 prices, one before the discount, and the second after the discount. First, I'll copy and paste the 2 prices on my sheet, instead remembering. I'll write the first price on the button, then 5 or 6 spaces, then I'll add the second price. I'll delete the 2 prices from the table, as they were just an add-aid. I'll add now a small line, outside the page, and edit it. I want it to be red, and the width will be 2 pixels. I'll select the red line, and copy it. Then I'll paste it on the sheet. I'll drag and adjust it, and now it shows that the price is deleted. I'll go now to the Product tab, copy the entire page, open a new tab, and paste the page. I'll rename it Box 35. I'll insert the relevant picture, adjusting it to the edges of the left window. Then, I'll write the description in the second shape, but I'll try to do it relative short, showing the most important features of our product. As I see that both the Products page and the Box 35 page don't have the freeze feature, I'll fix that very fast and easy. I will link the first upper button for making it active. First, I'll go to the Home button. I'll click on the Insert tab and look for Hyperlink. I'll click on Hyperlink and a drop box will appear. I'll click on the second option, Place in this document. I'll select Home. Let's test it now. I'll return to Vox 35 page. Now, we will also link the product from the Power Voxes tab to the product page. I'll go to the Power Voxes tab and click on the picture. I'll click on Hyperlink and a drop box will appear. I'll click on the second option, Place in this document. I'll select Vox 35. Testing it by clicking on the picture. I'll open a new tab. Copy and paste the product template. I'll go to Insert, Picture, and insert the second picture that I have in my folder. As well, I will copy and paste the description, as this is only an example. We have now two products, the home page, and our templates. We'll place the links to our buttons as they should be. I'll put now one link on the next button and one link at the back button. I'll also rename the products' titles. This part of our project is optional, but it may be useful for a designer that wishes to show more than one picture of its product in the catalog. For example, in my case, I have additional pictures of most surveillance products. Another example, another designer that deals with robes, for example, has several robe colors. So, let's add this optional feature to our catalog. First, I'll go to Sheet 9, and copy one of the frames. I'll copy it by Ctrl+C. Then, I'll return to the product page and paste it under the picture. I'll keep the frame selected, go to Format, and on the right side of the ribbon, and I'll size the frame to 40 mm on 40 mm. The size depends on you, and if you have many options, you can use smaller frames. I'll drag the horizontal adjusting line to the top of the pasted frame. I'll repeat it several times. I'll select all the new frames by clicking and holding the Control button. I'll move them together by using the arrow key. I'll choose and insert the new pictures, and size them one by one. I'll go to Insert, choose Pictures, and add the first picture from the folder. The first picture will always be the original one that we've placed in the original products page. I'll size it to the small frame, first dragging it to the top, and then adjusting it with my mouse. I am doing the same with the second one. Be as accurate as possible. The last one in our example will be resized and placed. And now, the last one, again, with care and accuracy. We've done it, and the problem is that we can actually see the additional tabs, I mean Vox 40A and Vox 40B. We can hide them, but for working as a hyperlink, we must use VBA, which is Visual Basic. I don't think that it's worth using it, as this is a catalog, so we don't want to mess with VBA for now. Okay, some explanations about the thumbnails pictures. We want them to be equal, I mean to have the same size, and won't change the size during our work. So, I'll right-click on a picture, and choose from the drop-down options, the Format Picture. The format picture will appear on the right side of our sheet. I'll choose Size. As the frame I selected is 40 mm on 40 mm, the picture must be smaller. I found by trial that it has to be 38.3 mm. First, I'll remove the marks from lock aspect ratio, then from relative to original. Then, I'll click on Don't Move or Size with Cells. Then, I'll write on both widths and height of our picture, as I mentioned, 38.3 mm. I'll go now to the home page, and rename the button to the first created category name, Power Boxes. I will add a hyperlink, pointing to the first category. We have to place a hyperlink on the View buttons and the Website button too. So, on the Products table I prefer to point them to the product as appears in the catalog, however, you may link them to your product page in your site. Regarding the Website button, I would link it to the site's homepage. It works, I can assure you, however I blocked Excel in my firewall, so I cannot show it to you. I'll remove now the adjusting lines, the small red line that I used for deleting the price. As well, I'll disable the grid, and it'll look nicer. The last part will be protecting our workbook, so if someone will click on a picture or shape, for example, they won't move. The last part will be protecting our workbook, so if someone will click on a picture or shape, for example, they won't be editable anymore. This is a relative simple task. Look on before protecting, and after protecting the sheet. I'll do it just on the active pages, and at the end of the project, you can delete the unneeded tabs. I'll go to Review tab, click on Protect Sheet, and it will ask you for a password. You must remember this password, or write it somewhere. Mine is 1, 2, 3, as this is only an example. You will be asked to confirm it, so please do it. I will do it on every active sheet. Now, I'll save my new catalog. I'll go to File, Save As, Write Catalog, and save your work. I believe that I covered so far most of our project, and I know that it takes time to do it. However, I believe that you will be able to continue filling the remaining sheets with your logo and your products, as our final goal is to have a nice catalog. As I said on the beginning of this project, I don't have too much experience with Excel, and certainly not with making such tutorials. Also, a click will be welcomed. I will be very happy if you will like it, and it helped you. If you'll produce one, please send me a link to it.